lasting impact beyond these challenging times.
Take me back to LA. Take me back to LA. Take me back to LA. I've laughed and I've cried. I've lived and I've died. Stole from, gambled and cheated. Cut corners outside. I've tried and I failed. Stood tall when they run. I fought a cold war in the dead of the hot sun. Now take me back to LA.
KBLA, Talk 1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and I am so excited to have Dion Raymond, our Justice Correspondent, host and executive producer of the Justice Files, here in the studio with me this morning. So much to talk about. And yeah, we had to touch on these protests going on in LA, going on around the nation, and barely, scratch the surface about this Supreme Court sending away the protest case, which means Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana can charge me $1 million if someone smashes a Neiman Marcus window on a protest that I organize, even if they're an outside agitator, a counter protester, a cop. This Supreme Court is really what the Republicans used to love to call activists.
Oh, for sure.
They have a clear agenda, and there's a bunch of decisions coming down in June. And I guess, I kind of am expecting the worst. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think after Roe versus Wade being overturned, because all of the new justices lied to us during their hearings and said mm-hmm. that was settled law and they were not going to overturn it, and then they did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just as they did with affirmative action. And it's shameless activism. And I think that the Supreme Court is going to lose credibility if it hasn't already. It's becoming this body where decisions will be made based upon their political affiliation and ideology, rather than the rule of law. With affirmative action, they didn't have to take that case up. They wanted to, and it was constructed so that they could take a case and rule to eliminate affirmative action. So I think it's pretty clear what's happening. These days, the young folks, they call out gaslighting. They call it out for what it is, and it's shameless. And particularly, I think, for those of us who've studied law and practice law, it's very disturbing. And I mean, in law school, you learn to spot issues and cite the rule of law. And then you argue both sides. So you can argue both sides. But the purpose of having laws is so that we have some sense of order, so that people can know what to expect in terms of processes. And that's just all out the window. And so, what are we left with? We're left with chaos. I think one of the biggest examples of that, again, I'll probably be dating myself, was the verdict in the Rodney King matter. Rodney King, as we all know, was beat within an inch of his life, and it was recorded. That was the big thing. It was recorded, Black folks were seeing injustices and excessive force in the communities for forever. This one was recorded, and it was played on repeat. We got to see it over and over and over again. And so there was a verdict that was so wholly inconsistent with what we all saw with our two eyes, or wear glasses or 4 eyes, or whatever, through the lens. And what erupted after that was the uprising. There was chaos. And so if we don't have these processes and laws that we are all told are there to protect us in our Constitution, then what are we left with, Dominique, is lawlessness. And that is not a call for people to be lawless, but a protest is one of the most fundamental forms of speech. And that's how we hold each other. We hold our government accountable.
Yep. So, but as of right now, we still have a right to assemble, which and we still have a right to free speech,
Mm-hmm.
which, free speech with consequences. That's the thing people don't get about free speech.
Mm-hmm.
It's free, but you get the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
But and the Supreme Court is not actually pondering anything other than they've sent back that protest case, and that could come back to them again, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, we see all kinds of stuff going to them that are being designed and set up to go to them. So yes, it could go back. Just like the issue regarding whether or not folks can be cited and arrested for being homeless. They're trying to, be somewhere in the middle on that, saying, well, I think these states should be able to decide this, but it's absolutely absurd.
Well, let the states decide. It seems like what it means is we know that the states are going to do what we want to do anyway for the most part. So we'll, quote, let the states decide. But so with homelessness, that could mean let the states decide means if we say that it's illegal for you to sleep on a sidewalk and it's not cruel and unusual punishment, as a state, we can arrest you, we can fine you, we can do whatever we deem, necessary to punish you for doing that.
Well, and I think that they'll try to, not go but so far, but I think it'll still have the impact. So if let's say they're leaning towards, well, we can't punish you for being homeless, but what we can say is that you can't be in this particular place. You can't be in that particular place, right? So maybe it winds up being almost like encampments where homeless people can go. We're still going to have the problem. But I think what they're trying to respond to is that there's a lot of folks out here, Dominique, who are saying not in my neighborhood. And it's spilling over so much into everybody's neighborhood, right? That I think that maybe where they're trying to go is to have a place for where there is homelessness, but not in my neighborhood. For example, one of my guests that I had on, Tamara Lewis, she has been doing for 18 years a program called Backpacks for the Homeless for her nonprofit. We are our brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. And so they assemble and they have folks come together, a lot of whom are my friends. And her foundation provides the backpacks. They have toiletries, survival things in it. And so then the week after that, there are buses out here in Leimert Park, and they take them, the volunteers and the backpacks downtown. I remember the first year I went, we got to a certain point in downtown, and that's all you saw.
Yep.
Were homeless folks, and they looked like us. And so I think that's really where they're trying to head in this direction.
Kind of the shantytown model.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, this particular piece, and I think you're right, I've been saying it, that it's going to disproportionately impact Black people.
Of course.
Because we are a ridiculously large percentage of the unhoused, and we're already criminalized just on the basis of our Blackness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you can say, well, it's against the law to sleep on the sidewalk, I can put you in jail. It sounds like you're saying you don't think they'll go quite that far, but they'll provide the latitude for cities or states to go that far.
I think maybe places that are more liberal will.
Yeah.
I think places that aren't will criminalize homelessness. Homelessness has been criminalized for a long time. I mean, when I was a public defender, how many people did I have who were homeless? And so they find themselves in situations, survival situations, where maybe they're taking food. Dominique, digging in recycling cans. There are municipalities that actually charge people for things like that, at least at that time when I was there. And so there are crimes of homelessness because what comes along with that? Drug addiction, mental illness. If you weren't doing drugs before, you're probably going to do drugs just to survive there. And so homelessness has always been criminalized, and they'll just continue to fill up the jails just as before, and it becomes that form of housing.
The jails become the form of housing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a really expensive, painful, problematic form of housing.
Absolutely. It's not sustainable.
Right.
It's not sustainable. We are really being pushed to the brink. That's why we see so much outrageous, critical contrast that's happening right now on the campuses. A former president unprecedented, being tried in, criminal, civil cases. We're really being pushed to the seams. Climate justice, it's all there for us. It's all there for us to deal with, and it can be dealt with. It's whether or not it will really become a priority, and I think the people are going to decide.
Yeah. Well, I love that you say the shutting down protests won't work. It never has. I don't know why it would start working now. A lot of eyes, not as many as I would like, but a lot of eyes are on New York and the criminal case against Donald Trump, which is, the first time a former president, current, former, possibly future president, is on trial. And this is really, everyone's calling it hush money, but it's really campaign violation trial.
Yes.
But the question is, this came up yesterday. Maybe we should address it on the other side. But the question is, if the Supreme Court decides that Donald Trump does have immunity, well, I don't think they'll do that because it's going to make them look like Bobo the Fool. But they might. You think they will?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. But if they did, would that get him off the hook for every single case? My impression was that no to Georgia because that's not, well, I don't know, does it? No, and no to New York because that happened before he became president. Yes, no? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think that he'll be off the hook. I don't. As you mentioned, as with prior to him becoming president, I think, and I've heard it said that is the weakest case against him, but, maybe not so. Maybe not so. And it's really worth exploring. And I really encourage people to delve beyond, the sound bites that they hear or the little pieces that they get, because there really is more to this. And knowing that I was coming on here, I actually delved deeper into it.
Oh, I can't wait to hear. Yeah, I can't wait to hear. Because I love that you said that, because I've been saying that at least lately. How can it be the weakest case if it's the only case at the moment that's actually gone to trial?
Absolutely.
There's that. 800-920-1580. If you've got a question, comment, or conversation for attorney Dion Raymond and me, Dominique DiPrima, on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn
At
more.
Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin ultra strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Psst. Hey, I have a secret. I use Secret Whole Body Deodorant because more than just my armpits stink.
Oh, can I use it where my bra rubs under my...
Oh, yeah.
And what about down there? My...
Totally. 4 out of 5 gynecologists would recommend it. So I tried it, and now I get 72 hours of freshness from my pits to my...
Ooh, I love that it's a spray.
Me too. And it comes in sticks and creams too. Go get your Secret Whole Body Deodorant.
Imagine with me here for a minute the most beautiful panoramic setting. Maybe it's an endless ocean, waves crashing on a beach, or a crystal clear mountain lake, peaceful and quiet. Or maybe it's just little kids playing in the park down the street. Wherever your imagination takes you, now imagine right smack in the middle of this perfect picture, a piece of litter. Just one piece, right there in the middle of it all. Doesn't exactly fit, does it? In fact, even though it's just one piece, now it's all you can see. That one piece ruins everything. And that's the thing about litter. It doesn't take much to ruin everything. One thing's for sure, it simply does not belong anywhere in California. So here's the good news. If we work together, we will change it. We don't have to let litter, even just one piece, ruin your perfect picture. Not anymore, not ever again. Clean California, zero litter is the goal. Brought to you by Caltrans and CleanCA.com.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Poor attorney Dion Raymond. I got her up all early, and I'm over here picking her brain during news traffic.
I'm always
and
up early.
Oh, you're always up early. Okay, I see that. I see that. So we're talking about, a little bit about the trial, the Trump trial in New York, what they're calling a hush money case. Why do you say maybe not the weakest case?
Because as I went online and I actually read Alvin Bragg's the introduction to the statement of facts for the indictment. It's not written in what that typical kind of legalese and that people think of or attribute to attorneys. It's very clear. It's very direct. It's very digestible, and I learned a whole lot by reading it. And so the reason why I think it's not necessarily so weak is because what they make clear is that it's not about the fact that these women were paid money. And there were two women, not just Stormy Daniels. But they were paid this money. It's interpreted as a campaign contribution because the purpose of the money was to silence them because he felt, his perception, reasonably so, is that it would hurt his chances. It would hurt his campaign. It would hurt his ability to be elected, and that was an illegal campaign contribution. But then you get to the conspiracy part, the agreement part, where he's now entering into agreement with his attorney, Mr. Cohen. And Mr. Cohen has agreed to be the conduit for these payments. And for the Stormy Daniels matter, he in fact created a shell corporation for the purposes of paying her. And this was all done with an attorney and him in agreement with Mr. Trump. This is what they are alleging. And then after she was paid, he was repaid. And here's the really interesting part. The payment was for $130,000. And then he also, the part of the agreement is that he would be paid an additional $50,000 for another expense. This is what's being alleged. And then on top of that, a $60,000 bonus. So they took that and then they doubled the amount and said that part of the agreement is that it would be paid to him monthly until that amount was fulfilled, $35,000 a month. So he billed the Trump organization for $35,000 a month for attorney's fees pursuant to a non-existing retainer agreement. This is what they've alleged. So there you've got all of this is by an agreement. It wasn't random. It wasn't haphazard. And it was all done for the purposes of capturing, using the media, the National Enquirer, to capture and to kill these stories. So I think it's going to be a very interesting story for the jury and any good lawyer. And I think Johnny Cochran is a really good example of a good lawyer because he's very smart. You have to be able to tell the story. And you have to be able to tell the story in a way that people understand. And I'm not talking about playing race cards. That's not what it means to tell a story. You tell them the facts and how the law applies to it and why you should come back with a verdict that you are asking for. Now, the defense is saying this is a no-brainer. There's nothing here, that there's nothing illegal about influencing an election or a campaign. Well, of course, you try to influence voters, right, Dominique, with ads, with speeches, going door to door, having volunteers, getting out your message, that kind of talking about your bona fides and why you're the best person. That's how you try to influence. He says this is what we call this democracy. I'm like, really?
Yeah, I said, yeah, you're allowed to influence an election, but only in certain ways. You know, you can't influence an election by bumping off your opponent. Like, there are limits. To just say, oh, this is democracy is really disingenuous.
Absolutely. By intentionally withholding information that could impact how I vote, the decision that I make, my ability to assess your character, your credibility for truth and veracity. Now, we know there are people who don't care about that, but there are people that do care about it. And even if you don't care about it, we're supposed to have a process that protects that.
So when you said a non-existent retainer agreement, is that illegal? Like he's pretending he's on retainer, but he's really just paying off?
Well, it's a lie.
Strange debt.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a lie.
But lying isn't against the law. Otherwise, Trump would be under the jail.
Well, the reason why it's relevant in because the lie was in order to well, they weren't going to put on the books that we're paying you, Mr. Cohen, because you paid off a witness to not speak. The lie was to make it appear that it was for legitimate legal services for tax purposes.
I see.
And they even gave him extra money to cover taxes.
So that's at the point where lying can become either perjury or tax evasion, not just garden variety, Trump who lies 5,000 times a day.
Exactly. And it's evidence of a conspiracy, of an agreement to do something illegal, whether or not that was accomplished.
So this is, I personally, Attorney Raymond, I think that as this trial unfolds, it is going to erode Trump's support around the edges.
One can only hope.
Those, independent voters, right, or sensible Republicans, semi-sensible who, want to vote for Trump because they think he's going to put forth a certain policy or a certain thing that they want, and they're willing to put up with the other things. I think this is going to erode his popularity and his standing. You don't?
I'm hoping, and the reason I say that, and it's not because, I'm trying to take a particular position for Biden or anyone else who's running. I'm saying one can only hope because he has run so rampant, and has not been held accountable. And it's important to hold Donald Trump accountable. It's important for our young people in particular to see that no one is above the rule of law and that we don't get to go around just trumping our laws and our processes. If all of us are to be held accountable, I mean, we got some laws that aren't good, and we know that they're criminally, that Black people in particular are disproportionately identified, stopped, what I consider captured, prosecuted, sentenced, and incarcerated, although we're a minority within the United States. And so it's important for the person who holds the highest position in this country to see that person is held accountable to our laws. And it was on this station, on Areva Martin's show, one of her programs was the theme, the frame, and the context of that conversation is, can America, do we have the structure, do we have the ability to hold him accountable? We're seeing things that are of first impression, but this country is a textbook instruction on doing things, as a matter of first impression. And so we have the intelligence, we have the ability. Do we have the will to do it? And again, I think the people are really going to step up and do what needs to be done. And again, we're seeing it with these young folks on these college campuses. They're not having it, Dominique.
No, they're not. Ben Frank is in the YouTube chat. He says Trump's going to jail. Is that possible?
I don't think he's going to go to jail.
Not for this or not for anything.
He could. I mean, what they'll look at is, and what I've read is that typically, because first of all, this is a matter where, well, they'll have to look at whether or not I think this judge in particular, and he seems really good. I like him because to me, he seems like business as usual. He doesn't seem to be persuaded or motivated in any way that this is a former president. And so I think he'll look at how sentencing typically goes for a case like this. It's always possible. Yeah, I mean, it's always possible, but will he? I don't think so. And then the question becomes, is this of any moment? But I believe that criminal law and being prosecuted is a very sobering experience.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I bet it is. I think that even if it doesn't erode his support around the edges, it certainly takes him off the campaign trail for some days. It's, not a good look, him sitting there falling asleep in court. Mm-hmm. And all of these things are going to, impact him one way or another. But and we don't have time because we're about to go into news, traffic, and sports, but I wonder if he was Joe Average. Mm-hmm. I mean, we say where there's accountability. No, he already wouldn't be able to talk smack about witnesses, judges, jurors wouldn't have to be top secret. Mm-hmm. And if he had a prior, liability for rape and all these other pending cases, would that normally impact how sentencing goes? Well, this guy's got another corruption case going through the system. He's got, he just got found liable for rape. Would that normally impact the judge? No.
No.
These things have to stand alone.
Well, he's not on probation, And yeah, so
amazingly.
I think and I think this judge will be straight down the line. I think he'll be sentenced in a way that is consistent with how others have either pled or have been convicted. But I do think that it will erode support for some people. I do.
Attorney Dion Raymond, me and you on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The Senate is expected to pass a $95 billion aid package for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan this week. Senate leaders are aiming to quickly pass the legislation that cleared the House Saturday. It includes more than $60 billion in aid for Ukraine and $26 billion for Israel. Also included in the package is legislation to force TikTok's Chinese parent company ByteDance to sell the platform or be banned in the U.S. Los Angeles, California Mayor Karen Bass is proposing a $12.8 billion budget for the upcoming fiscal year. The budget unveiled Monday includes $65 million in cuts to the African American Mayor's Inside Safe program designed to get homeless people into housing. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Dell Technologies and Intel are pushing what technology can do. So great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to now.
Is this the tether? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers were outstanding in so many areas Monday night in Denver. One thing they didn't do well was protect a 20-point lead in the second half. The breakdown led to Jamal Murray's game-winning shot at the buzzer to give Denver a heartbreaking 2-point win over the Lakers. Denver leads the best-of-7 first-round series 2-0. The Lakers have now lost 10 straight games to the Nuggets. What makes Murray's fall-away shot even more frustrating for the Lakers is that he hit it over Anthony Davis, the Lakers' best defender. AD was in perfect position to contest Murray's shot. The Nuggets' dramatic win spoiled a brilliant night for D'Angelo Russell. Russell dropped a career-high 7 3-pointers to silence all the haters. AD was also brilliant with 32 points and 11 rebounds. LeBron had 26 points and 12 assists. Game 3 is Thursday night at Crypto.com. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Climate justice, climate equity, climate resilience. By any other name, we demand environmental justice in 2024 and beyond. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down.
Hi, I'm Reverend Gerald, host of Urban Family Focus here on KBLA Talk 1580 on Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. In an effort to help reduce the impact of hypertension in our community, Providence is offering free hypertension assessments. The first 30 people to visit KBLA1580.com and use the link or QR code to register will receive 2 tickets to the Amazing Grace Conservatory presentation of Aladdin, A Whole New World for Real, at the Crenshaw Performing Arts Center, May 25th and 26th. Go to KBLA1580.com right now and be one of the first 30 to register for your hypertension screening and receive 2 tickets to Aladdin, compliments of Providence and KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
It's time for California Community College's Black Student Success Week. This week-long event, held April 22nd through the 26th, is an opportunity to focus on innovative approaches to ensuring Black and African American students succeed in their educational pursuits. Black Student Success Week 2024, building a better future together. The urgency is now. For more information, visit blackstudentsuccess.com. That's BLKstudentsuccess.com.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1893 $10 gold Liberty coins has been found. These gorgeous 1893p gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed an 1893 gold Liberty struck at the iconic Philadelphia Mint. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1893 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 131 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-473-3993. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus, a $50 value free with every order. Call 1-800-473-3993 now to secure your 1893p $10 gold Liberty coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-473-3993.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
And Attorney Dion Raymond is here in studio with me. I am so excited to have her in. Of course, you listen to her show. Of course you do on weekends here at KBLA Talk 1580. And people were really riveted to your conversations with Areva Martin, of course, during the trial of Mark Ridley Thomas, which will be getting a rematch, or I guess an appeal with a new legal team. And, you know, I'm praying. I really am. I think that was a miscarriage of justice. So hopefully you'll cover it again, but we'll see.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, she's on Sundays at 10 and 10, a.m. and p.m.
That's right.
Sundays on the 10. So we're talking about this, the other trial of the century, not O.J. Simpson, but, well, I guess that was technically a different century. But anyway.
We're dating ourselves.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't mind.
Yes, we're still here, still doing our thing. But, yeah, to me, I'm surprised more people aren't, broadcasting gavel to gavel, really following this. He's a former president, could be the next president. People were asking about the jury. The jury's top secret because of the threats against judges, juries, witnesses, and such. And we even had a juror back out because they didn't want that smoke. This is really unusual, right?
Yeah, and I get it. I get it. Because, Donald Trump, he is, the showman. He likes being in front of the camera. He likes being in front of the microphone and having the attention placed on him. It's a huge thing to provide that kind of jury service and to lose your anonymity, particularly to be swept up in something like this. People could be targeted. I mean, we see it for those, those sisters, in the South and everything that they went through, based upon just falsehoods alleged against them and made their lives hell. And people want to be able to go back to their jobs.
Yeah.
They don't want the fallout for their families. And Donald Trump has been unashamedly willing to attack not just some prosecutors, but judges, court staff, family members. It's out of control and it's outrageous. And I think it's right to protect them.
I mean, but normally if you had a client that did that, what would happen to them?
Oh, Dominique. They would be fighting their case from the inside if they weren't there already. I mean, let's face it. Justice in America has a lot to do with wealth and privilege and money. That's why there are public defender offices to represent individuals who are indigent and cannot afford to hire an attorney. And so there's a difference when someone walks in there, or in California, at times you don't have to walk in there. Your attorney can appear for you. I'm not talking about at the trial level, but anyone I ever represented, either privately or with the public defenders, there's no way that any of that would be tolerated.
So it's tough for the judge. You said this judge seems like a straight shooter. Mm-hmm. He's appears to be going out of his way to be fair, but also not give this guy a lot of extra love for being the president. But he has to, right? I mean, if he threw Trump in jail for threatening witnesses and jurors and all that, it would create a firestorm.
It appears to me from what I've observed and what I've read, and I am following it, it appears to me that he is conducting himself like a judge the way this judge would with anyone.
Okay.
Is he likely to throw him into jail? I would say not.
Right.
There's this whole conversation about he's still running for president. He still, should be able to speak to issues. And particularly, he's feeling like this is an attack. But he's gone above and beyond that. So is it possible? I think if any judge so far that we've seen was willing to do it, I think it would be this one. I don't think he's playing.
So explain a gag order, because there's been a lot of talk about the gag order. This morning, the judge heard arguments as to whether or not he would hold Trump in contempt of that gag order. Mm-hmm. So explain, how does a gag order work and what happens if you're in contempt of it?
Mm-hmm. Well, again, I was reading about this particular judge and the gag order just yesterday, because you can go online. There are no cameras in the courtroom, right? And you've got places like the New York Times that are updating constantly. But individuals can go right to this website and read up on it. And it's pretty plain. It's the judge, he acknowledges that there are these competing interests, right? You've got speech, but there's also the interest in ensuring the administration of these court processes. And so it may seem like it's an extraordinary type of tool, and in a way it really is. But what it's in this case, its purpose is to ensure that this individual isn't going out and saying and doing things that will interfere with the normal fair administration of a trial. They don't want a mistrial. They don't want to have to start over again and do it all over again. And so he's only issuing it for as much as is reasonable to ensure the administration of this trial. And also, the judge noted that he's done this before. So this isn't something that's coming out of left field. This isn't something where, this guy's running for, president. I got, this power as a judge. Let me put some limits on him. But it's to ensure that, people aren't intimidated, that they can do their jobs, and that this trial can be conducted in the way that trials normally are conducted.
But that's really limited. I mean, he can talk about a lot of different things. He's only gagged from talking about specific things.
You can't attack and threaten and make people scared. That's literally the language.
You shouldn't need a gag order for that, but apparently in this case you do. It's almost like a mob trial, right? I mean, it's like a mafia trial.
You know what? That's a really good analogy, because Donald Trump is a gangster, and he's been willing to show that he will use whatever means that he has necessary. I mean, he took classified documents.
Yeah.
Highly classified documents, and shared them, and then attempted to obstruct the FBI from getting them.
I mean,
how
my
much further does
conservative
he have to go?
friends will say, well, Biden had classified documents too.
But he attempted to obstruct the government when they
tried
to retrieve them.
Yeah.
And it's documented, they've got him on, recorded, talking about this. Look what I have. I could have declassified this, while I was president, but I didn't. And then here's the other interesting part, or very important part, Dominique. Then you involve other people.
Yeah.
Then you involve other people to assist him. He's got one of the co-defendants was an employee of his who he engaged in assisting him in obstructing the government from getting
rid of that videotape,
and the
moving boxes around.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
involve other people.
So I didn't know, but I just wanted to delete that video for no reason. But this is an extraordinary situation. These are extraordinary times. He's already been found liable for rape. I mean, okay, sexual assault, but it's only because New York has a very narrow definition of rape.
And then continue to defame the plaintiff.
To the tune of another $83 million.
Yeah. How much is enough, Dominique?
I don't know, because he's still defaming.
Absolutely.
And... Well, when we come forward, I want to ask you a little bit about the Georgia case, Fani Willis. I know you probably, I've talked about this, on and on and on, but it's still moving forward, despite the sidetrack,
the distraction,
detour. And I feel like all of these things are racing against the clock, but what does that really mean? We'll look at that with attorney Dion Raymond when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
call your senior Medicare patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
City of Los Angeles landlords, verify your tenant's emergency renters assistance program status today. Tenants approved for rental assistance are protected from eviction for non-payment of rent through May 31st, 2024. Approved rental assistance applications protect tenants from eviction for non-payment of rent. Refusing to accept rental assistance based on their source of income is illegal under law and can be used as a defense in an eviction case. Check your tenant's application status now at housing.lacity.org. That's housing.lacity.org.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. Visit jpmorganchase.com/racial equity and get the tools to help reach your financial goals.
We used to argue about whose turn it was to clean the gutters, but then I had Leaf Filter gutter protection installed.
Wait, I told you Leaf Filter had free inspections and estimates and a lifetime guarantee.
Meaning we never have to argue about whose turn it is to clean the gutters again.
But I visited leaffilter.com/beacon first.
No, I did.
It doesn't matter who. Visit leaffilter.com/beacon to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off today.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
All right, we're talking with attorney Dion Raymond. So I have to ask you, you got all these cases. We're racing against the clock, and I brought up Georgia because that has been cited repeatedly as probably the strongest case. It's in state purview, so therefore can't pardon himself. But we had this whole detour, the D tour. And is that case irreparable? Can she get it back on track? Is it gonna, if he's elected, the whole thing goes, he can't be prosecuted until if he ever relinquishes the White House, right?
Yeah, that one is a bit trickier, Dominique, because of the timing. Can she get back on track? And I assume you're talking about, since the detour of, that little distraction that there was. About
I mean, I get it. Everybody needs love, but as one attorney friend of mine said, no new D during trials.
On my show, I had my two contributors, Bobby Grace. I mentioned this during our break, who is a career district attorney here in Los Angeles County, and Mansfield Collins, who is a private civil attorney who does criminal defense. And they really talked about the extraordinary circumstances under which she has been practicing and prosecuting this case. Is unprecedented, and it's Donald Trump. But it's for those same reasons that I felt like she really could have and should have seen it coming a mile away. And if I were her, I would expect that folks would be trying to dig through my personal trash, try to find anything and everything, because number one, that's what attorneys do, and that's what some attorneys do. They will throw poop up on the wall to see what sticks. I felt like she should have seen that coming. And there is that unfortunately, we still continue to labor under having this thought that we've got to work twice as hard to have as much. I never taught my son that, give your best, do your best. However, I think as an attorney, she should have known to avoid even the appearance of a conflict. And I agree that she is doing this under extraordinary circumstances, and she's Black and she's female. But I think she will be able to get it back on track. I'm wondering, Dominique, if she has the trust and the confidence of her staff. That can impact things. And then, she's prosecuting an individual who's running for president. And if he becomes president, then
The whole thing goes on pause, right?
I think it's off track.
It's a wrap.
And I think it certainly loses momentum, but the charges against him are very significant. So, yeah, I think we have to wait and see, because again, so much of this is unprecedented and has never happened before.
Yeah. Even this case is the New York case. They're saying would wrap by summer, right?
I think the judge said it would be 6 weeks.
Right.
And so, as in the case with Mark Ridley Thomas, Judge Dale Fisher was really committed to this, to the schedule that she had. She would start early, only 2 15-minute breaks, and then be done by 2 o'clock. And when judges tell, and also they want to keep their word to the jurors. Jurors they need to go back to work. They need to get their lives back on track. And again, this is an extraordinary case. So I think the judge is going to keep his word about keeping this trial on track. I don't think he's going to let Donald Trump or his lawyers distract, and delay. That has not worked yet, and I don't think it's gonna.
So we could see this case, actually sentencing and all that play out before the election. This one is on track to do
absolutely.
so.
Absolutely.
Unless, there's some intervention.
Some kind of extraordinary intervening
Clarence
thing.
Thomas starts breakdancing in the courtroom or something. But the other big thing we're waiting on is the Supreme Court to rule about whether or not he's immune from prosecution based on being president. You said there's no way they're doing that.
I can't say no way. Absolutely, I can't say no way. Honestly, no individual, particularly, an attorney, can never represent an outcome certain. I don't see it happening. This Supreme Court has been willing to go, very, very far.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds wishy-washy. So we have to wait and see. Dominique, what is the message that they are sending to this individual and to our country? If he can be immune, you can commit crimes because you're president?
That's basically what they're arguing, right?
For him to be immune?
He's been pretty immune anyway. I thought he was going down for Trump University, like as you mentioned, the Access Hollywood tape off the air, which they read in court yesterday. I thought he was going down for that. Multiple things, emoluments, nope. So, he does seem like he doesn't even need that ruling. But
the walls are closing in on him.
Yeah.
And one of the things I read, the New York Times, because, they're doing, they're updating constantly.
Right, minute by minute.
One of the things that they reported is that he appears sober in the courtroom. Now, maybe his attorneys are exercising some client control, but criminal law, that whole world, Dominique, when you walk into those into that building, when you walk into those courtrooms, let me tell you, it's a very specific energy and a very specific feel to it, and a very specific culture. It is very sobering, the thought that there are people who can make a decision about your life and your liberty. And prison and county jail, it is no joke. And most people do not step behind the veil of criminal law. He's now stepped behind that veil, and he's dealing with a judge who's not playing. So, they're saying that he's sober, that he's, really, he's looking forward. He's, when his lawyers are talking, then he's looking at them. He's not putting on a show. So I think it's possible that maybe, at least for now, something has gotten his attention. And I also believe his wife and his children are not in the courtroom.
I read that Melania's really embarrassed by the whole Stormy Daniels thing, has not gotten over it, and is quite irritated with him that this is now repeating itself on the world stage.
Yeah, I haven't seen her. And I know that, as a former criminal defense attorney, Dominique, one of the things you want is to have supporters in that courtroom for your client. Jurors and Judge C, if family are there, if other supporters are there, it doesn't mean that it will ultimately determine how they rule. Like in the Mark Ridley Thomas case, that every day of that trial, Dominique, it was full because people cared about what happened. And it's important to show up. And he doesn't have family, a wife in that courtroom.
Right. A very well-paid wife.
A very well-paid
very
wife.
well-paid
and
wife.
The truth is that if you go to prison, you going by yourself. That's
Yeah.
something you gotta walk on your own.
But if in the small chance that they did say he's immune from prosecution because he's president, that takes every case out, right? Except for something like this one that happened before he was president, or even this one.
I think that's the likely result.
Yeah.
We have to wait and see. Again, all of this is so unprecedented.
It's crazy.
It's very crazy.
I don't think they'll do it either, because I believe if they did that, we would finally see either more justices and or term limits, both of which I'm an advocate for the Supreme Court.
Oh, absolutely. I think we're there.
You think we're already there?
I think that they need to have term limits. I do. I don't think they should have lifetime appointments.
But for that, we need a constitutional amendment, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I think and what I feel and what's happening and what's likely to happen, are two different things. But I think that this particular Constitution, this Supreme Court as constituted, really makes an argument for why that should be, why individuals shouldn't just have lifetime appointments.
Yeah. I mean, we're not emperors. That isn't that what we threw off the British for?
Exactly. and Donald Trump wants to be king.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Attorney Dion Raymond, it's really fun to talk with you. Tell everyone how to follow you, keep up with your legal thoughts and briefings, listen to your show, all the things.
Yeah, tune into the Justice Files. We are on the 10s, 10 a.m. and with an encore at 10 p.m. I can be found at Dion Cherie Raymond on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
I haven't left it either. Dion Cherie Raymond. I haven't left it either. I'm staying till they kick me off, I think.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
I noticed they're making my followers have suddenly started diving. Before that, they were slowly but steadily. But I
was never too active on there anyhow. But that's changing, and I want to thank you for having me on, and most of all, thank you for the work that you do, that you've been doing, particularly during the elections, talking to candidates and just providing a space for people to be able to check in either live or afterwards with the podcast. I directed people there. I utilized it. So thank you.
I appreciate your support. Next hour, we're going to meet an MMA fighter who's making a difference in his community. That's coming up on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The Senate is expected to pass a $95 billion aid package for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan this week. Senate leaders are aiming to quickly pass the legislation that cleared the House Saturday. It includes more than $60 billion in aid for Ukraine and $26 billion for Israel. Also included in the package is legislation to force TikTok's Chinese parent company ByteDance to sell the platform or be banned in the U.S. People into housing.